Yo, 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 shalom, shalom, family. Shalom. It's not gonna be too long of a video. It's just gonna be a real quick one. Just going over man's talk, man's purpose. I went over the tragedy that happened a few days ago, last Sabbath, in Buffalo, New York. So it kind of inspired a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. This was one of them. We saw a young man, a devil really, go into one of our communities and kill 10 black people, injured 3. And it's just some things we need to talk about. So before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and open up. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Today's talk is King's Talk, Part 2, A Man's Purpose, right? And what a man is supposed to do. Now, we know ultimately the man's purpose is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and I'll go ahead and go over that real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. It says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." So the Bible is telling us that as men and women of the Lord, the purpose that we were created, our sole purpose, bare minimum that we should be doing is and fearing the Most High God, right? And having faith in his son. So King David also told his son the same thing, right? So his brother said, tribes of Issachar 777, the Israelites, I'll go ahead and put it up. He said, the Israelite man's purpose is to rule the planet, is to rule the earth in righteousness. All praises. 100% agree. 100% agree. This is 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. Now the days of David draw nigh that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth, to be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. So King David is getting ready to die. He's getting ready to pass on. So he's telling the son what he wants him to do. Now, if anybody's ever studied people on their deathbed, they're telling you something that this the most important thing for you to know. This is the most important. Like, there's nothing else more important at this moment that they can think of that you should know. So this is very critical. And this is important, and this is the reason why the Bible told us that when David drew nigh, he was getting ready to die, that he should die, right? If you study a lot of people that are on their deathbed, they'll tell you that they should have spent more time with their family, or should have got more time to know their children, or things to that nature. Shouldn't have worked so much, stuff like that. So they're telling you things that some regrets are something that they should have done that was more important than chasing money or women, right? So King David is telling his son, King Solomon, verse 2, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. So he's telling his son to show himself a man, and he's going to explain how. It says, and to keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself. So he's telling them how to prosper on the earth is to keep the laws of the Most High God, right? So a purpose of a man is to provide, to protect, and he is the image, the strength, and the foundation of the house, right? Which means the man you have a very, very big role in all of this development in your household, right? The Most High God didn't make no mistakes when he created, and he put those spirits to be males on earth, right? Shalom, shalom, family. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that you have a very big responsibility on this planet, right? First and foremost, just being a male, I'm talking about to you single males, to you single men. Um, we have to, you have to develop skills. It's something that you need to learn how to do. Develop a skill before you try to take on a wife, right? Get you a house before you try to take on a wife. Um, studies show studies show that women find men more attractive when he has a lot more to offer, right? Studies show when a man is more attractive when he has a lot more to offer. So don't make a woman your priority. Your priority is to get yourself in order, get yourself a skill set, develop yourself, right? Your priorities come first. The priority, first and foremost, is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's your priority as a man, as a single male, and as a married man, right? So, shalom, shalom, family, shalom. So, what we're supposed to be doing is to developing these skills, right? Again, it says studies show women find a man more attractive when he has a lot more to offer. So don't prioritize a woman over your purpose. Your purpose comes first. Women are going to come. Don't put a woman over your purpose, right? So we know when we understand our purpose is to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. King David said, "This will bring you. You will prosper if you do this." This is how we prosper as men of Israel. We cleave to our God, our power, and we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 6. Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 6, it says, and he hath given men skill, right? That he may be honored in his marvelous work. The Most High God gave men skill, so develop your skill, right? And you will be honored, right? You take the time out to honor and develop your skill, the Most High God will bring that honor to you, right? But first and foremost, you need to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandment as an Israelite man. Now, the other nations can focus on their skill only. That's what they do. You see that all the time, whether it be working on cars, houses, putting together old junky stuff, right? That's what they do. They focus on their skills only. Our job as Israelite men is to focus on the laws and then our skills. That's how it goes, right? So, this is 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 18. It says, Salakia, it says, then answered one of the servants, 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 18. Then answered one of the servants and said, behold, I seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. So the servant is telling Samuel that he saw a man that was from one of the sons of Jesse, and he was of the nation of Israel, right? That he was cunning in playing, so he knew how to play instruments, and we knew that King David was skillful in instruments, that he was a mighty and valiant man, a man of war, right? So he could fight, he could protect. These are the attributes that we need to have as men, especially being here in America, man. We cannot be letting our guard down, right? It says, a valiant man, a man of war, and prudent in matters, right? He was wise in situations. He wasn't a dummy. So we got to make sure that we are wise in situations. We are wise in matters that come and that bring themselves to us, because we're going to be tested. We're going to be tested. And if you being an Israelite, you should know you're going to be tested. That's a common thing, right? We know that. So let me pull out this video real quick, because this guy, he asks a really good question, and then he gives a little bit more understanding on why he asks this question. And the reason why I'm doing all of this, for one, is that we were like it says in Jeremiah 17:4, that we would discontinue from our inheritance, right? We think that it's not physical, but things are physical, right? We live in a physical world. We know that our fight is spiritual. We do know that, but we can't be ignorant when it comes to, for one, Satan's devices. Also, be ignorant and be slothful in the matter of what a man's development, right? A man's development is that he should be a protector, right? Meaning what? Protecting what? His spiritual mind, his mother, his sisters, his daughters, his sons, right? He got to protect he got to provide in a lot of those areas, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He's got to provide money, right? He's got to protect his wife. He's got to protect his wife from herself, right? That's a huge thing. And I'm going to go into that a little bit too, just to show you that men, we got a big responsibility. When I say that, it's true. We got a big responsibility. And protecting your wife from herself is even more. And this is something that a lot of our men kind of fall short on because they're not wise to what happens, like how it happens. And I want to explain that. But first, I'm going to play this video real quick. Slakia. I got to share my screen.
All right, fellas, let's talk about it. Do you believe every man should learn how to fight? And if you already fight, what's your experience been? What does it taught you?
Every man should practice a combat sport because it teaches you how to deal with loss.
And obviously, the same thing applies to real life because that's how real life is. Man, you got to get good at getting punched in the mouth, kicked in the ribs, knee, and come back stronger, come back harder. You know, I hear some people say, oh, I don't want to start boxing or fighting because I don't want brain damage. Listen, it's not all about getting your ass beat. It's about discipline. And you're going to win sometimes, too.
Right. So should a man know how to fight? Yes. A man should know how to fight because his job is, the reason of him being here is to protect. If you're not physical enough to protect physically, meaning you have a disability and there's no way that you can protect the people around you physically, then protect them spiritually, right? Protect them spiritually. Okay. Now let me get into that a little bit. Slakia. Slakia, I want to read this precept before I get into that. This is 1 Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 18. 1 Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 18. Just to show you what our forefathers was on, how our forefathers moved. Right? This is 1 Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 18. The sons of Reuben and Gadites and the Gadites and half a tribe of Manasseh, of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword and to shoot with bow and skillful in war, were 44,703 scores that went out to war. So they were skillful at war, right? They wasn't dumb. Peter, when he chopped off the man's, you know how skillful you got to be to slice a man's ear off? How close that is to the man's head, right? Without decapitating him. Peter was skillful. These men were, our forefathers were skillful at what they did, man, at everything, whether it been given the understanding of the Bible or whether it been building a house, whether it been building the tents, because they know we had tent builders, we had cupbearers, but they were skillful at what they did. Us men, we got to be skillful at what we do. We got to be skillful in protecting physically and spiritually. We got to be skillful, right? So going to, so whenever a young man does get a wife, he has to be able to protect her physically, spiritually, and also from herself. And I'll explain that. But let me get this first. This is Exodus chapter 21 and verse 10. It says, Exodus 21 and verse 10. If he taketh another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage, which means sex, it says, shall he not diminish? Shalom, shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. So shall he not diminish? right? A man, when he takes on a wife, he cannot neglect her. He's supposed to take care of her, provide for her, protect her, right? Give her wisdom, knowledge, understanding, right? So I'm going to read verse 11 because a lot of brothers don't go into verse 11, but it shows my point, which is that you cannot neglect your wife. It says, and if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go free without money. You cannot neglect your wife, man. The Bible teaches you that, right? And that's something that we as Israelite men need to understand. We got to understand we cannot neglect our wives, right? And how we're supposed to deal with them. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 24. He that getteth a wife getteth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest, right? Now we as men, we're supposed to educate and edify our wives how they're supposed to be a pillar of rest to us. Now they have an idea. They're not dumb. A lot of our women are very smart, right? So, but we're supposed to paint them how we want them to be. Just like Yahweh Shai is painting us, the church, how he wants us to be. Okay? So we're supposed to be virgin in spirit. Our wives are supposed to be virgin in spirit, meaning gullible to how we desire them, right? Like if I want my eggs this way, or if I say this is what I have standing in my house. This is what the rule that I have. Regardless of how you were raised, this is what I want, and this is what pleases me, right? That's just how it is. It says, he that getteth a wife begetteth a possession, right? So he is to possess her. He is to rule over her and everything. Who possessed her first? The first man that possessed her was her father. The first man that possessed her was her father. And that's the same way that she is supposed to be towards her husband, right? Meaning spiritually, meaning that if whatever he says goes, don't question it. That's why a man, when he has a daughter, he's supposed to be serious with her. He's supposed to be stern with her to show her how men are supposed to be, how they act, right? You can't be too playful with your daughters, okay? Now, I ain't saying you can't play with them because you can. You can be jokey, hang out, just have a good time with them. Enjoy your children, but don't be overly, saying there's got to be a balance to everything, like Proverbs 11:1 tells us, okay? But it says, verse 25, where no hedge is, meaning the husband or protection, husband, father, or elders of the body, where no hedge is, there the possession, meaning the wife, there the possession, meaning the women, there the possession is spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning, right? So if a wife, if a woman, if a daughter, a sister, whoever the person may be, doesn't have a hedge, she is spoiled. She is good for nothing. And we see the conditions of our people and our women today. The conditions of our people and our women, they are very spoiled, man. Right? They're good for nothing. They're not good for nobody. They got to have a whole teaching class just to give them understanding on how to teach, which is nothing really wrong with it as long as they're doing it. But they don't even know how to cook. They don't even know how to cook when they grow up, right? So this is something that our women are supposed to be teaching them as they're growing up, so that they know how to cook when they leave the house. I literally know women that don't know how to cook, and they're grown women. That's sad, man. That's real sad. Whether they're fooling me, I don't know. They might be fooling me, but they can't really, from my understanding, from what they told me, they can't do no meal like that. 4-course meal, you know what I'm saying? Make things look beautiful, eloquently placed. That's something that we got to make sure that our wives and our daughters and our sisters understand, right? That's your job as a man, making sure that they're pointed in the right direction. But it says, this is Sirach chapter 29 and verse 21. The chief thing for life is water, bread, clothing, and a house to cover shame. So we got to make sure as men that we can provide all those things, that we're not neglecting our wives, right? We're not neglecting those women that are our possessions. They are your possessions, and you're supposed to take care of them. right? Now from the dawn of age, man, women have always depended on a man to protect them. They've always depended on a man to protect and provide, to bring safety, right? A lot of times, I learned this not too long ago. Our foremothers didn't necessarily gravitate towards a man based off of his looks. They did it based off of what he provide, like what kind of security he provide. Now, there's times and incidences in the Bible where you see that because of his beauty or, something to that degree. But majority of the time, it wasn't based off of what he looked like. It was what kind of protection or safety that he could provide for her. This is why your priority as a young man is supposed to be over a woman. Your priority, man. You're supposed to be focused on your priority, not women. Your purpose, right? I'm sorry, your not priority, but your purpose is supposed to be your priority, not women as a young man. Your purpose is, okay? Don't prioritize women over your purpose. Make sure your purpose, you understand your purpose and you do that first. Because like I said, women are going to come, man. Okay? This is Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Right? He's ruling over. You are ruling over her. A lot of men in America think that is a prideful thing. It's a good thing, but you don't understand that there's responsibilities that you have that comes with that. Right? Like in the East, when they call a man master or Lord, that's not a prideful thing. Like, that's not something that you should be like, yeah, that's me, bro. I'm the master, bro. I'm the Lord, bro. I'm her Lord, bro. No, in the East, they look at that like, dang, she called me her master. That means I got to take care of her. That means I got to provide for her now. You know what I'm saying? It ain't a boastful thing, man. Here in the West, man, we all kinds of messed up in the mind. Our thought process is based off of pride, right? But in the East, man, they have a better understanding of this Bible because this is a Bible of the East. This is a book of the East. Our culture is in the East. We are people from the East. So we got to get an understanding of how their mindset was. This is why a lot of this stuff is alien to us, or foreign to us. It looks different. We got to get the etymology or the definition of the word. When we go over to the East, they already got it. Because it's their, you know what I'm saying? They kind of have been around this culture, this way of living. But we're far from this place. We're far from it. Hey, Jeremiah 17:4 has never been more true, right? He discontinued from our inheritance, man. We have been discontinued. We have been cut off, right? Not knowing that it's not necessarily a prideful thing to be called master or Lord. That means you got a responsibility. You got more. You can't just take care of yourself. You got to take care of this woman now, right? You got to provide for her now. When you go out to eat, you need to think about her now. When you go buy you some food or something, you got to think about her, not let alone adding another wife to you, right? Because we know that's not a sin, but that's a law. Those were laws that I read. That's in the Bible. Those are the laws. If a man has another wife, right? And I want to say something too, man. If y'all men that do have wives, if you're not preparing those women for what's going to come, right? Isaiah 4:1, 7 women shall cleave up to one man. You are doing your wife you're setting her up for failure. If you're not preparing her mind, your job is to prepare her, man. Regardless if you want a wife or not, man. But if you endure until the end, that's going to happen to you, right? Because there's going to be women that's going to need protection. So guess what? If you're the only man out there that she sees, she's going to cleave to you. That's a righteous thing, man. And that's a beautiful thing. But you are setting your wives up for failure if you're not telling them that, right? And I pray that, man, women really understand that that's going to happen and that y'all men are responsible enough to your wives to give them that understanding, right? I don't want to harp on that too long. Our wives are our jobs as a men is to rule over our women, our wives, and part of that rule is to protect them, right? All right, this is 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, right? Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, right? How is she the weaker vessel? How is she the weaker vessel? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 27. It says, for the worship of idols, not, Salakia, for the worship of idols, not to be named, is the beginning the cause and the end of all evil, right? So through women came death, and because of that, the first sin committed was the worshiping of idols. So our women are subjected. They're easily persuaded to go off into other idolatry. So you as a man got to understand that's something that you got to protect her from. You got to protect her from those pretty lights, from these beautiful gold medallions that are worshipped, or whatever the case may be, to keep her away from idolatry, keep her away from bringing idols into your home to be worshipped, right? The Christmas tree is so pretty, though. It's so pretty, and Easter, it's Easter eggs. It's just the egg. You got to protect her from that. Give her the understanding. That's what makes her weak. That is what makes her weak. Give her the understanding of why the Most High God don't like that. That's your job as a man. Okay. This is Sirach chapter 25 and verse 24. Of the women, Slakia. Yeah, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. So the beginning of sin came through the woman, man. Her falling off and getting worshiping other idols. We got to make sure that we are doing our jobs as men and protecting her. This is Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness and high places. So we know our fight is not physical. It's spiritual. So we got to make sure that we're protecting them spiritually, right? That's the most important protection as of right now, man, because that's what's going to easily divide your house, right? These TV shows, protecting them, make sure, hey, that is not, that's not going to fly in this house. If she's seeing these women act all unruly on these streets, right? Acting all unruly towards their man, be like, what the Bible say about that, right? Regardless of how you teach her or tell her, but make sure you edify her, man. And you want to edify her. You don't want to edify her like you edify a man. You got to make sure that you have season in your talk, in your speech, that you can communicate with her without being harsh about it. Okay? Your point, the whole purpose of you edifying her is to get your point across, right? You don't want to do it aggressively, right? And I'm really talking to you young men that don't have wives, because I know the men that do have wives, they know how to talk to their wives by now. They still got them, right? So talk to them with grace. You got to make sure that you ain't too aggressive. Those are not men. You can't speak to them like men. I know my pops was in the military, and this is what I was telling Zion. So to Zion, when I was growing up, man, it was very aggressive. I had a very aggressive upbringing, right? I may not display that type of aggression, but I do know what it looks like, and I know, that's how the Most High was able to work through my father and gave me that, man. So I was very thankful by the strict discipline that my father gave me, right? But make sure that we are dealing with our wives according to knowledge, right? You don't want to be so aggressive. They're not men. They're women. They have a lot of feelings, right? let's see here. It says, this is 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one to another. We deal with them with compassion. We deal with them on a level of, now, I mean, I've been guilty of being overly aggressive with my wife on how I display my my edification. So, you know, everybody has to work on something, right? But we want to make sure that we are compassionate to our wives. You don't want to be overly compassionate either. You want to make sure you have a balance. It says compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. It says not rendering evil for evil. So if somebody does you evil for evil in this truth, you don't, I mean, somebody does you evil in this truth, especially in the home or in the house, you don't do them evil, man. You don't do them evil. It says not rendering evil for evil, nor railing for railing, but contrite blessings. It says, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should hereby inhabit a blessing. So this is how we inhabit a blessing, man. This is how we inhabit a blessing, by dealing with each other compassionate, with love. Those that are keeping the commandments, shalom, shalom, family, right? It says, for he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil. It says, and his lips that they speak no guile, man. This is how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be like this towards one another, man. We can't have evil in our tongue. We're supposed to be found with no guile towards each other, man. Right? So we as a people, as a nation, we got a lot of work to do. We are a young nation, and we got a lot of work to do, man. Let me see. It says, let us eschew evil and do good. Let him speak peace and eschew it, right? So we're supposed to speak peace and do good, man. It says, brother said, Salakia, should we be friends with the other nations? The Bible says live peaceably with all men. Now, to be friends with them, everybody has their own definition of friends. To my understanding of, I say deal with them, man, with the what's it called, a long stick. Like, you don't really want to have them close to you, because for one, just like Israelites that know they're Israelites that don't know they're Israel, they're going to do you more harm than good. So I wouldn't say it's wise to be friends with other nations, right? So everybody can see. Brother asks, should we be friends? Brotherly friendship. Okay, kind. Yeah, man. I wouldn't try to. That wouldn't be wise for me to be friends with somebody of another nation, man, because they might try to. Now, if they understand their role and their position in this nation, and they're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? But that's far few in between, man. That's far few in between that I've seen. So, like I said, that's just like our people. Like, I mean, I got cousins, aunties, and I gotta deal with from a distance, because they gonna try to get me to break the laws, make fun of me. You know what I'm saying? Deal with me not like I'm supposed to be dealt with. So no, I can't really mess with them, and that's family. So yeah, brother. Gotta deal with them according to scriptures always, but you can live peaceably with them. You know what I'm saying? If they cool with you keeping the Sabbath day, they don't try to trip. You know what I'm saying? They don't try to get you to break the laws, get you pork, or you know what I'm saying? I don't see nothing wrong with that. Right. They might be good in the surface, but their spirit is against ours. Khan. Very true. Very true. So, man, as you young man, this is something that I want y'all to remember too, man, that you will get caught up in aggression or your feelings, right, as a young man, thinking that you have to be more of a man by displaying aggression. That is far from the truth, man. It's alpha male is a gentle man. He is the most gentle in the room, but the most violent also. Right? He is the most gentle, but the most violent also. Don't get caught up in trying to display aggression by being the alpha male. That's not it. That's not it, bro. Right? I got stories I can tell y'all, man. But it's not, I want it to be an edifying lesson, right? But the point that I'm making, man, is from what I'm seeing on 43 years on this earth, an alpha male is gentle, but the most violent, Slakia, not aggressive, but the most violent, right? So when things hit the fan, when shit hits the fan, he can act. He knows how to handle himself, right? And shit, it might be hard for him to slow down, but he can take care of himself and take care of his people too, right? So before I end out, I want to get this Jeremiah chapter 29 and verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 29 and verse 4, it says, Thou, thus saith the Lord of hosts, and the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives to your sons. So the Most High God is telling us to live here, man. We're supposed to live. We're supposed to take care of our people. We're supposed to build houses. We're supposed to plant gardens. We're supposed to live, man. We got to live. We don't tell nobody that you ain't supposed, because you got a lot of different doctrines out there, man. You got to stay close to the Bible. You got to stay close to the scriptures, right? It says, and take wives to your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminish, and seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused thee to be carried away captive. The Most High God is telling us to seek peace, man. You ain't gonna have your boys with you all the time. You're not gonna have the camp with you all the time, man. Lord willing, y'all brothers is in the camp. You know what I'm saying? It might feel like a gang at some times, but you got to remember, y'all not in the gang, man. Don't act like the gang. Don't move. Y'all protect yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take care of one another, but we're not out here promoting violence. You know what I'm saying? Just beating up on people, starting fights. Now you defend yourself, yes, but don't start no fights, man. It says, verse 7, and seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. The Most High God is wanting you to seek him and have peace. Live, have children, raise them, protect them, teach them, man. Right? I want to go back up to the top just to recap a little bit. The studies show women find men more attractive when you have a lot more to offer. Make sure your priorities is in order. Put your purpose before a woman. When you get a woman, she becomes your purpose, right? Put your purpose before a woman, right? So don't go out there chasing women, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't be on those dating apps trying to chase women. Actually, I ain't saying nothing that's wrong with them, because I'm sure men have found good wives on those dating apps, but don't chase women, man. That's my point. Don't go out there chasing women. A man is a provider, protector, the image, the strength, the foundation of the house. So you got a big responsibility. Make sure you can defend yourself and all that the Most High God gives you. Make sure you're faithful to that, right? So, man, with that, pretty much, I want to end with this scripture, though. This is one of my favorite. Salaki, give me just a second. The book of Luke. I'll close out with this. Luke chapter 21 and verse 36. Luke chapter 21 and verse 36. It It says, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be able, Salaki, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before his son. So we got to always make sure that we are praying to be accounted worthy to escape these terrible things that's getting ready to come upon the earth, because they're coming, right? And make sure that y'all teaching y'all's wives, y'all's women, y'all's daughters, y'all's sisters on how to pray. Man, brother, Shalom, right? Shalom, King.
What's happening?
I was just getting ready to close out.
Was you?
Yes, sir.
All right, Salakia.
Kind, that's all right. That's all right. But yeah, man, if you got anything to add, it's cool. It's just man's talk over a man's purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's showing brothers that don't have wives their responsibility and their duties according to being a man. You know what I'm saying? They got to learn how to display aggression in the right way. They got to learn how to protect, provide, in the ways that they protect and provide. Protection isn't just physical, it's spiritual, right? But we also want to make sure that you can protect your household physically as well, right? But hey, the water for jumping in though, I know it was a little, you know what I'm saying?
My bad.
It's all right. All right, so with that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end off and give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God Yahweh, B'Hashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. With that, I'm gonna say Shalom, my bro.
Shalom.